The galaxy had defeated every enemy, solved every mystery, and mapped every corner of known space. Then humanity arrived, and taught the stars a terrifying lesson. No matter how many times humans fall, they always get back up. This is the story of the one word that made ancient machines fear, cosmic gods hesitate, and the entire galaxy believe in the impossible. Again. The Galactic Council had catalogued over 12 million intelligent species. They had recorded every language, every culture, every religion, every war. They believed there were no mysteries left in the universe. Then humanity arrived. And everything changed. The first contact meeting was supposed to be routine. A welcoming ceremony. A few diplomatic speeches. An exchange of scientific knowledge. Nothing unusual. The council representatives gathered inside the Hall of Civilizations, a structure larger than some moons. Thousands of alien delegates watched as the newest species entered. Humans. They looked unimpressive. No claws. No armored skin. No venom. No psychic abilities. No biological weapons. Just soft creatures standing on two legs. The audience quickly lost interest. Another weak species. Another civilization that would probably become dependent on stronger powers. The council chairman, an ancient being named Zelthar, began the ceremony. Welcome, representatives of Earth. May your people prosper among the stars. The human ambassador smiled. Thank you. Simple. Polite. Forgettable. Everything should have ended there. But then one delegate asked a question. A question that would change galactic history forever. What is the greatest achievement of humanity? The hall grew silent. Most young civilizations answered with technology. Faster ships. Advanced medicine. Energy generation. The human ambassador thought for a moment. Then he answered. Our greatest achievement is refusing to quit. Laughter erupted throughout the chamber. Several species translated the phrase incorrectly, assuming it was a joke. Others believed the human misunderstood the question. Refusing to quit? That wasn't an achievement. That was stubbornness. Primitive behavior. The ambassador simply smiled. You laugh because you don't understand. The laughter slowly faded. Zelthar leaned forward. Then explain. The human looked around the enormous hall. And began a story. Millions of years ago, Earth tried to kill us. The room became quiet. Our world was filled with predators stronger than us. Images appeared above the stage. Massive beasts. Ancient oceans. Volcanic eruptions. Ice ages. Deadly storms. The audience watched in fascination. We were never the fastest. A predator appeared. We were never the strongest. A giant herbivore towered above primitive humans. We weren't the smartest at first. The images shifted again. So how did we survive? The ambassador paused. Because every time Earth knocked us down, we stood back up. The chamber remained silent. For the first time, nobody laughed. The ambassador continued. When disease came, we fought. When famine came, we adapted. When disasters destroyed entire civilizations, we rebuilt. The images changed rapidly. Floods. Earthquakes. Wars. Pandemics. Economic collapse. Recovery. Again and again. Humanity always returned. The delegates exchanged nervous glances. Many civilizations had survived hardships. But not on that scale. Not repeatedly. The ambassador wasn't finished. Then we reached space. The hall relaxed. Finally. A normal achievement. But then the ambassador smiled. And space tried to kill us too. The images shifted once more. Exploding rockets. Failed missions. Destroyed colonies. Dead astronauts. The audience stared in disbelief. How many failures is that? One delegate whispered. The answer appeared. Thousands. Gasps spread throughout the hall. Thousands? Most civilizations abandoned projects after a handful of disasters. Humanity continued after thousands. The ambassador pointed toward the projection. Every failure taught us something. And every lesson brought us closer. The room had become completely silent. No one was laughing anymore. Because they were beginning to understand. Humanity wasn't successful because it avoided failure. Humanity was successful because failure couldn't stop them. And that realization terrified everyone. 3 years later, the galaxy learned the true meaning of the human statement. A machine civilization emerged from deep space. Ancient. Massive. Unstoppable. Entire fleets vanished. Worlds burned. Empires surrendered. Species that had ruled for millions of years collapsed within months. Panic spread across the stars. The Galactic Council assembled emergency sessions. Every prediction ended the same way. Extinction. There was no victory scenario. No escape plan. No hope. Then humanity made an announcement. We're going to fight. The council was stunned. Fight? Against an enemy that had destroyed civilizations thousands of times older than Earth? It was impossible. Humanity knew that. They fought anyway. The first battle was a disaster. Human losses were catastrophic. The second battle was worse. The third battle nearly destroyed the entire human fleet. The council believed Earth would surrender. Instead, humanity requested more ships. More soldiers. More resources. The aliens couldn't understand. Why continue? Why sacrifice so much? The answer came from a human commander. A sentence that would become legendary across the galaxy. We haven't lost yet. The council protested. You've lost every battle. The commander shook his head. No. We've only failed to win. And then humanity returned to war. Again. And again. And again. Each defeat taught them something. Each disaster revealed weaknesses. Each loss became a lesson. Exactly as it always had throughout their history. The machines adapted. Humans adapted faster. The machines calculated probabilities. Humans ignored probabilities. The machines expected logic. Humans weaponized determination. For the first time in their existence, the machines encountered an enemy that simply refused to stay defeated. And eventually, the impossible happened. The machines began losing. One battle. Then another. Then another. For the first time in 10 million years. The machine empire retreated. The galaxy erupted in celebration. Humanity had achieved what no civilization believed possible. But the greatest shock came later. After the war ended, scientists recovered machine records. Among billions of data entries, they found a recurring phrase. A warning repeated across countless strategic reports. One sentence. One word. The machines had identified the single greatest threat in the galaxy. Not a weapon. Not a fleet. Not a technology. A word. The word was again. Because every time humanity fell, they stood up again. Every time they failed, they tried again. Every time they lost, they fought again. The galaxy finally understood. Humanity's greatest weapon had never been intelligence, or strength, or technology. It was the simple refusal to remain defeated. And that made them the most dangerous species the stars had ever known. The Council later engraved humanity's motto onto the Hall of Civilizations. A message for every future species. A reminder that impossible odds mean nothing to those who refuse to surrender. The inscription contained only 4 words. Try one more time. And for the rest of galactic history, nobody laughed at humans again. The inscription had stood in the Hall of Civilizations for nearly a century. Try one more time. Every species knew the phrase. Every child in the galaxy learned its meaning. And every military academy taught the story of humanity's victory over the machine empire. But history had a strange habit. The longer a peace lasted, the more people forgot why it existed. The galaxy believed the machine war had been the greatest threat it would ever face. They were wrong. Because beyond the edge of known space, something had been watching. Something ancient. Something patient. Something that had witnessed the rise and fall of entire galaxies. And it had finally decided to move. The first sign was subtle. A colony on the outer frontier went silent. Then another. Then 3 more. No distress calls. No debris. No survivors. Entire star systems simply disappeared from communication networks. The Galactic Council assumed pirates were responsible. Then they assumed a natural phenomenon. Then they assumed equipment failure. The truth was far worse. A rescue fleet eventually reached one of the missing systems. What they found terrified them. The planets were still there. The cities were still standing. The ships remained in orbit. Everything appeared untouched. Except for one detail. Every living thing was gone. Animals. Plants. Citizens. Millions of people. Vanished. As if they had never existed. No signs of violence. No evidence of evacuation. Nothing. The fleet commander immediately sent an emergency report. The galaxy entered a state of panic. Earth responded first. Human scientists arrived within days. They searched every building, every computer system, every satellite. Nothing. Until a technician discovered a recording buried deep inside a colony security archive. The footage was only 6 seconds long. But it changed everything. The video showed the colony's main square. Thousands of people walking normally. Children playing. Vendors selling food. Then suddenly, everyone stopped moving. At the exact same moment, every person looked toward the sky. Every animal froze. Every machine shut down. Then the recording ended. The technician replayed it repeatedly. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Because when the footage was enhanced, the humans noticed something nobody else had. For a fraction of a second, a shape appeared above the city. A shape so enormous that it covered the entire sky. The technicians felt cold just looking at it. Their brains struggled to understand what they were seeing. The object was simply too large. Too impossible. And it was getting closer. The Council declared a galactic emergency. Exploration fleets were dispatched in every direction. Most never returned. Those that did brought disturbing reports. Entire sectors were empty. Stars had vanished. Not exploded. Not collapsed. Gone. As though someone had removed them from reality itself. Scientists argued endlessly. Nothing made sense. No technology should possess that kind of power. No civilization should possess that kind of power. Then humanity made a discovery. An old discovery. One hidden inside the machine archives recovered decades earlier. A classified warning. A message the machine empire had never shared. The file contained only 3 words. Do not awaken. Nothing else. No explanation. No coordinates. Just those words. At first, the Council dismissed it. But human analysts kept digging. And eventually they uncovered a second file. This one included a name. The Silence. The revelation shocked everyone. According to machine records, the Silence wasn't an empire. It wasn't a species. It wasn't even a civilization. It was something older. A cosmic predator. A life form so ancient that entire galaxies were merely feeding grounds. For millions of years it remained dormant. Sleeping between galaxies. Waiting. And every few 100 million years, it woke up. When it did, civilizations disappeared. Stars disappeared. History disappeared. The machine empire had spent 10 million years hiding from it. Not fighting. Hiding. Because even the machines knew they couldn't win. The council chambers erupted into chaos. What do we do? Can we negotiate? Can we flee? Can we hide? Human representatives remained silent. Because they already knew the answer. None of those options would work. The Silence had crossed intergalactic space. Distance meant nothing to it. Time meant nothing to it. Fear meant nothing to it. For the first time since the Machine War, humanity faced an enemy that seemed truly impossible. 3 weeks later, the first confirmed sighting occurred. A monitoring station near the edge of the galaxy detected movement. Massive movement. Something larger than entire solar systems. Something approaching at impossible speed. The sensor data overwhelmed every computer. Scientists watched in horror. The object wasn't a ship. It wasn't an organism. It wasn't anything they recognized. It looked like a tear in reality itself. A wound in space. And it was heading directly toward inhabited worlds. The Council demanded evacuation plans. Military strategies. Anything. Humanity offered none. Instead, Earth requested access to every scientific database in the galaxy. Every species agreed. Because at that point, there was nothing left to lose. Months passed. The Silence continued advancing. Worlds vanished. Stars disappeared. Entire civilizations fled toward the galactic core. Fear spread faster than light. Then humanity finally spoke. The announcement shocked everyone. We have a plan. The council immediately demanded details. Human scientists projected a model of the approaching entity. Then they highlighted something unexpected. A pattern. A weakness. Tiny. Almost invisible. But real. The silence wasn't perfect. It adapted slowly. Extremely slowly. Because it had never needed to adapt before. Nothing had ever challenged it. Nothing had ever survived long enough. The room became silent. An impossible idea began forming. The same idea humanity always formed when facing impossible odds. If something could learn, it could be outlearned. If something could adapt, it could be outadapted. The council stared at the humans. One delegate finally asked the question everyone feared. You aren't planning to fight that thing, are you? The human representative smiled. It was the same smile the galaxy had learned to recognize during the machine war. The smile that usually appeared right before humans attempted something insane. We're planning to do what humanity always does. The delegate swallowed nervously. And what is that? The human leaned forward and spoke the word that had once terrified the machine empire. Again. The chamber fell silent. Because everyone knew exactly what that meant. Humanity had no guarantee of success. No certainty of victory. No evidence that the plan would work. But they were going to try. And if they failed, they would try again. And again. And again. Far beyond the edge of the galaxy, the silence continued its approach. Ancient. Unstoppable. Certain of its victory. For the first time in billions of years, it was about to meet humanity. And history suggested that was a very dangerous mistake. Beyond the edge of the galaxy, the silence continued its advance. Stars vanished behind it. Entire systems disappeared into the impossible darkness surrounding its immense form. Every civilization watched the sensor feeds in horror. Every civilization except humanity. Humans were busy. Very busy. Because while the rest of the galaxy focused on surviving the next week, humanity was already planning for the next 100 years. That difference would save them all. The human plan sounded absurd. Even by human standards. Instead of building a superweapon, humanity built a network. A network larger than anything the galaxy had ever attempted. Thousands of research stations. Millions of scientists. Billions of volunteers. Every species contributed knowledge. Every civilization shared technology. For the first time in galactic history, no secrets remained. Humanity called it Project again. The name made many aliens nervous. Because everyone remembered what happened the last time humans named something after their favorite word. Months passed. The silence continued forward. Nothing slowed it. Nothing damaged it. Nothing even attracted its attention. It consumed stars the way humans consumed grains of sand. To the silence, civilizations were microscopic. Insignificant. The council began losing hope. Then something unexpected happened. A human research team discovered an anomaly. The silence wasn't destroying stars for energy. It wasn't feeding. It wasn't conquering. It was searching. The revelation shocked everyone. Searching for what? Nobody knew. But suddenly the monster appeared less like a force of nature and more like a living being. And living beings could make mistakes. Humanity intensified its research. Every piece of data collected over centuries was examined again. Every observation was rechecked. Every assumption challenged. Then a young scientist on Mars noticed something nobody else had. The silence never traveled randomly. Its movements formed patterns. Ancient patterns. Patterns older than most galaxies. The data was analyzed. Then analyzed again. The results stunned everyone. The silence was following a map. A map leading toward the center of the galaxy. Toward something hidden. Something ancient. Something waiting. Exploration fleets rushed ahead of the silence's path. Deep inside the galactic core they found it. A structure. No. A megastructure. A construction so enormous it surrounded hundreds of stars. It shouldn't have existed. No civilization could build something that large. Yet there it was. Ancient beyond measurement. Older than recorded time. And at its center was a signal. A repeating signal. One message. Broadcast continuously for billions of years. When translators finally decoded it, the entire galaxy fell silent. The message said, "Containment failure imminent." The truth emerged piece by piece. Long before the first known civilization existed, another species had ruled reality. A species so advanced that entire galaxies were engineering projects. They had discovered the silence. They had fought it. And they had failed. Unable to destroy the creature, they built a prison. The megastructure at the galactic core. For billions of years the prison held. Until now. The silence wasn't attacking. It was returning home. Returning to the prison from which it had escaped. But something inside the prison was failing. And if containment collapsed completely, the creature would become stronger than ever before. The galaxy had misunderstood everything. The real disaster had not yet begun. Panic spread. Several civilizations immediately prepared evacuation fleets. Others surrendered to despair. There was nowhere to run. No place beyond the reach of the silence. Humanity reached a different conclusion. If the prison once worked, it could work again. The council called the idea madness. The original builders possessed technology beyond imagination. Modern civilizations couldn't replicate it. Humanity agreed. So they decided not to replicate it. They decided to improve it. The council members nearly fainted. You want to improve technology billions of years ahead of our own? A human engineer shrugged. Why not? That answer perfectly summarized humanity. Project again entered its final stage. Every ship in the galaxy was mobilized. Every factory operated continuously. Entire planets converted themselves into manufacturing worlds. For 2 years the galaxy worked as one civilization. For the first time in history, species that had hated each other for centuries stood side by side. Not because they trusted one another. Because humans had convinced them that trying was better than surrendering. Humanity's greatest gift wasn't courage. It was contagious courage. Then the silence arrived. The largest object ever witnessed by intelligent life emerged near the galactic core. Stars disappeared within its shadow. Space itself distorted around it. Millions of ships waited. They looked microscopic compared to the entity. The council watched the battle from secure locations. Many expected extinction. Humanity expected difficulty. There was a difference. The first phase failed completely. The containment field collapsed. Thousands of ships were lost. Entire fleets vanished. The council screamed for retreat. Humanity refused. The second phase failed too. More casualties. More destruction. More loss. The silence continued advancing. The galaxy began to lose hope. Again. But humanity had prepared for that possibility. Because humans never built one plan. They built hundreds. Then thousands. Every failure generated new data. Every setback created new opportunities. Project again adapted in real time. The prison evolved. The strategies evolved. The galaxy evolved. The silence did not. For billions of years it had been unstoppable. It had never learned persistence. Humanity had spent its entire history learning nothing else. The third phase nearly succeeded. Nearly. The fourth phase came closer. The fifth phase damaged the creature for the first time. The galaxy erupted in celebration. The silence could be heard. That meant it could be beaten. Humanity pushed harder. Again. 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 Each attempt improved. Each attempt refined. Each attempt brought victory closer. The machine archives had once identified humanity's greatest weapon correctly. Not strength. Not intelligence. Not technology. Iteration. The willingness to keep improving after failure. Then came the final attempt. The one history would remember forever. Millions of ships formed a lattice around the ancient prison. The upgraded containment network activated. Stars themselves became part of the mechanism. Entire solar systems functioned as components. The galaxy held its breath. The silence struck. Reality trembled. Thousands of ships disappeared instantly. The containment field flickered. For a moment it seemed destined to fail. Then humanity deployed its final innovation. A system nobody expected. A system inspired by the oldest lesson in human history. Redundancy. When one layer failed, another replaced it. Then another. Then another. And another. Millions of backup systems activated simultaneously. The prison adapted faster than the silence could attack. For the first time in billions of years, the creature encountered something more stubborn than itself. Humanity. The containment field closed. The silence fought. The field held. The creature attacked again. The field strengthened. Again. And again. And again. Finally, the impossible happened. The ancient predator was forced back into the prison. Reality sealed behind it. The battle ended. The galaxy survived. For several minutes, nobody spoke. Nobody moved. Nobody quite believed it. Then celebrations erupted across millions of worlds. Civilizations that had expected extinction were suddenly alive. Children would grow up. Worlds would prosper. Stars would shine. Because humanity had refused to quit. Again. Years later, a new monument was built beside the original inscription in the Hall of Civilizations. Visitors traveled from every corner of the galaxy to read it. The first inscription still remained. Try one more time. Beneath it, a second inscription was added. A message dedicated to humanity. A lesson learned by every civilization that had witnessed their impossible victories. It read, "Impossible is not a wall. It is merely the place where humans begin." And from that day forward, whenever a species faced disaster, whenever hope seemed lost, whenever defeat appeared certain, they remembered the strange creatures from Earth. The species that conquered impossible odds not because they were stronger than everyone else, but because they kept standing up after every fall. The species whose most dangerous weapon was a single word. Again.